second thing that I've really learned in this journey of 8 years is that it's incredibly important to build a village. And I think, at least in America, that term of building your village is sort of cliche in a way, but I think it's coming back. And the reason why I think that is because the best entrepreneurs that I've seen have done this. They've built a village of people who not only support them, but give them great ideas and that perspective that is so incredibly important. And I think we talk a lot about finding great role models and great mentors, and that, I don't know, those terms are very heady, they seem very serious. But if you think about it as building a diverse village around you of people who have areas of expertise or perspective that you just simply don't have, that can be a huge contributor to your success. And the thing that I've learned most of all is that those village members can come from the most unsuspecting places. Some of our greatest mentors and advisors were people who I wouldn't even thought twice that they could have helped us in the ways that they have. One most notably is Sean Moriarty, who is on our board. And Sean is the ex-CEO of Ticketmaster, which in our world of online event ticketing, you'd think that he would be sort of the enemy or represent the incumbent, 800-pound gorilla in the room. And when we met with Sean, it was really as if there was this light bulb that went off, because he has this incredible way of helping us operate the company. He has an incredible charisma, and he understands our business. And it was shortly after we met him that we actually asked him to join our board, and it seems sort of ostentatious at the moment, but he agreed and has been one of the best champions and mentors for Kevin and I. And to be honest, I didn't even really want to meet the guy in the beginning. So it goes to show that you should definitely always take a chance on people and take that meeting to find your village along the way. You'll never know who you'll find or how they'll be vital to your success. The third thing that I learned that I think is particularly important for us female founders is to be brave enough to ask for, and here's the kicker, receive help. I think that along the way, I've tried to do too many things on my own, and simply put, it's incredibly difficult to try to be everywhere at all times. And it's one thing to ask for help and say you need help, but it's actually an entirely different thing to receive help. And I think a lot of times people talk about delegation and giving up some of the control, but those things actually come into play both in our work and our family life, where there are just simply things that we can't do because we are growing this company and growing human beings at the same time in parallel, which is a great and rewarding challenge. And I like to say that, Kevin and I have a great partnership, but we simply aren't doing 50-50 of the domestic work. I'd say we're doing 30-30 and outsourcing 40. So it's important to note that you have to be able to ask for and receive help, whether that be from our family members. We are lucky enough to have both of our parents in San Francisco, and so our moms are incredibly helpful, as are our dads. They're very good at reading long books to the girls for hours and hours. And my parents are actually on this trip with our girls. And so it's been rewarding for us to actually receive that help. But it doesn't just have to come from family. It can come from, again, that village that you put together and that you create actively. So I found it incredibly difficult, really, after we grew the company to solidify and be bold enough to say what our mission was. And I know that sounds crazy, but we spent many years trying to describe what Eventbrite was. And it was so, it was just uninspiring, to be honest. It was a ticketing platform. We were an online event ticketing company. And inevitably someone would say, oh, you're an events company. You know how to plan events. Can you help me plan, my son's bar mitzvah? And we'd get really confused and try to come back to the beginning. And it took us a while, actually, and kind of more time than I'd like to admit, to really solidify what our vision was. And I realized that by absence of being bold enough to put our vision out there, because maybe we were fearful of it becoming stagnant or irrelevant over time, we were actually doing a huge disservice to our team. Because if you're sort of anchorless, you're lost at sea. You might all be swimming really, really hard, but you're not all going in the right direction, and you're not organized in a way that allows for innovation and for velocity. And so when we finally sort of birthed this vision statement and were audacious enough to say, this is actually what we dream of doing, bringing the world together through live experiences, something turned on at Eventbrite. It was almost like a spark was lit. And people were able to really identify with this vision. And not only did it help us talk about the company externally, but it really lit this fire internally. Because the thing is about live experiences, they've been around forever. It's innate to human connection that we gather together offline. And with the advent of social media, we're actually able to find each other better online so that we can continue to gather offline. I know that in 2006, Kevin and I thought that perhaps we'd be living in this virtual reality and we'd be doing everything online and we'd be, ticketing online events that were literally in a virtual reality. And I'm really happy to say that actually the currency of the offline experience has gone up. It's actually more proliferated now that we can find each other online. And we're all here today as part of that live experience and that connection. And when we think about the history of the importance of live experiences, I just wanted to share with you a few of my favorites. So this is near and dear to our heart because this actually happened in a San Francisco park. But this is Allen Ginsberg reading one of his first literary works out loud called Howl to a group of just 200 people. But that moment in time and that live experience sparked this literary movement and is referenced in history books. Or a much bigger event, the Rock in Rio, was not just about 2 million people coming to a live concert. It was actually 2 million plus people celebrating their independence as the dictatorships in Latin America fell. And it was an incredible showing of independence to be able to experience this cultural event together. And then something a little bit closer to this region, the Live Aid first concert in 1985 was one of the first times that the world could see that gathering together for a live experience could actually help solve one of our biggest world issues, and that people could have a greater purpose in coming together for a concert. And so at Eventbrite, we believe that live experiences are so incredibly important because they create this connection. They're better than virtual experiences. They create indelible memories. And we think that a happy life requires live experiences. Now, all of this that I just described to you was born after we created that vision statement. None of this existed prior to us being bold enough to say what our vision was. And again, that took years for us to do. So as an entrepreneur, it's so incredibly important to be audacious about what you aspire to do so that your team can rally behind it. And these things are things that our team has created. And the one thing I want to say about how we view live experiences at Eventbrite, it's not necessarily those big, grand events I just told you about, Rock in Rio and Live Aid. It's actually the everyday connections we make through smaller events. Today is a tremendous success, so I don't think I'd call it a small event. But running a road race, we have this wonderful partnership with Pieta House, the Darkness into Light events, where there's these 5K runs in 37 locations that attracted over 80,000 runners, or a yoga retreat, or a cooking class. Or what else do we have? Tough Mudder, which is a global event that is an obstacle race. The ways in which you can create these live experiences and these connections go on and continue to inspire us every day. And to be honest, this is the bulk majority of our business. So last year, we sold over $1 billion in gross ticket sales and ticketed over 1.1 million events in over 190 countries. So it's a universal phenomenon to be connected. And so when I think back about how we've built Eventbrite and really what I've learned as a first-time entrepreneur, I think that instead of feeling like hindsight is only something that I can see clearly in the past, I actually look to this data, the wisdom, and the perspective that I've learned throughout this experience to really use hindsight to move forward and to make better informed decisions. And I'm still very much on this journey. I hope to be here next year and the year after and the year after to let you know what I've learned, but I'm learning something new every day. I think that's probably the most gratifying part of being an entrepreneur and a founder. And with that, I'd like to say thank you for having me, and I look forward to having a great panel. Thank you.